Hey guys, I hope everyone is doing well. Today I want to address a topic that I think is quite close to me that I feel also resonates with a lot of you guys. And it kind of goes back to when I first started trading and the beginning of my journey. There were so many people telling me, "Why are you doing this? Why are you wasting your time? Don't get involved in this. This is a scam. There's no future for you in this. You're just wasting your time. You're never going to really come out of it with anything." And I found that really hit me because sometimes I can be quite an indecisive person. And this little bit of indiscretion kind of made me feel like I'm not good enough to do this. I'm not good enough to continue trading. I don't know enough. I don't know these super technical things that everyone's talking about. I'll never make it because I'm not doing it the way everyone else is doing it. And I feel like it's such a important point that a lot of people don't really address because it's make or break whether you kind of continue or not, right? What people think of you, what people say, what people, uh, have opinions around what you're doing. And I think at the end of the day, you've got to really just focus on like what you believe in, and you have to believe that there is some sort of end goal, right? And I found that along my path and along my journey, I also felt like the way in which I was influenced and the way I was trading and the different discretionary styles that I was using, it really made it very difficult for me to find any confidence in what I was doing because I would go through these hot streaks and then I would like go on these bad losing streaks and then I just wouldn't find any consistency. And like that for me was really difficult because I've got people in my ear telling me that, hey, you can't do this or you're not going to be able to do this. And then on top of that, I don't have a system in place to actually be able to get me to where I'm looking for, right? And that's kind of why I built the system that I trade today because it defined a clear path that allowed me to kind of back myself, block out the noise, really not give a shit about what anyone else says about me or what their sort of beliefs are around what I'm actually trying to do here. And I'm starting to see that in my community and the students that I'm teaching. They're starting to see the sort of clarity that they've been looking for. And I really do believe that. I feel like what I do with my students is the end goal, right? It's the last place that they're going to go. And I find when you try to incorporate, different styles and different discretionary trading and whatever it may be, it's like giving you a map to a location where there's 1,000 different possibilities of how you could get there, right? And that's very difficult because you're not going to really find any consistency in trying to get to that end goal. Whereas with what I'm doing, I'm clearing a path that I kind of found helped me get on this one single narrow road to the end goal. And that's how I found the success in my trading is because I've showed up every single day applying the same principles over and over again, not giving a shit about what people think of me, and really just making sure that I can take it to the next level, right? So if this is something that resonates with you and you think, oh man, I could really learn a lot from this, I'm going to leave the link to my mentorship. Keep in mind that this is the last month that we are running it, right? So if you want to sign up and put through your application, I'm going to drop the link in the video straight after this. But if you also want to just chat to me and find out a little bit more about my journey, feel free to reach out to me on DMs. I respond to all my DMs. If you want to set up a calendar call, whatever it may be, to find out some more information, feel free to do so. And I want to kind of get into this topic today, which I think is going to be quite interesting, right? And it's about having a set plan and a set model that you can apply to get you or take you down that single path or take you down that single road, right? And a great example of this is being able to come up with something and trade something that you can also replicate on different multiple asset classes, right? So this is something on ES that I took this week, and I want to show you because I've also showed you guys quite a lot of examples, mainly on the FX side, mainly euro dollar, for example. And I want to show you how the system I trade can be applied to whatever asset class you want to trade, whether it's futures, commodities, forex, whatever it may be. And it starts really simply with having what I kind of mentioned in my first video, that high time frame narrative or high time frame area of interest, right? And then building it down into the low time frame execution. So if you have a look over here on the S&P 500 this week, we actually had quite a big sell-off from the highs of around just under $7,000 to the lows of around 6,600, right? And I've been watching this area mainly because I was quite curious to see how price action would eventually react once we come up into these sort of higher extreme areas, if you want to call it, right? And I think it's quite an interesting one because you might have got chopped up along the way, and that's okay. You can see here we've got this nice internal buy side liquidity that we took out here. And you can see here that I've got my clear high time frame execution area that I'm looking for, right? And I want to show you how you can also execute on this on the S&P 500, well in this case ES. And if I drop down now into the lower time frame, you can actually see we just missed this area of interest on the 4-hour, but we were mitigating something just in this refined OB over here, right? You can also see how that move over there broke the structure point over here. So technically, this is also kind of a valid area of interest, right? So this was kind of the 2 points I was looking at. And if you drop down into the lower time frame now, I want to show you how this all played out. So remember those two things that I was explaining in the past. It was mainly high time frame area of interest. So whether that's a fair value gap, displacement, BPR, supply demand, whatever you want to call it. That's the one key thing I'm looking for. And then I'm looking for some sort of key pattern that I can execute on the same time over and over again, right? And in this instance here, you can see we had this nice buildup of Asia liquidity over here, which was kind of forming my sort of accumulation. So if I just have to quickly type that out for us, you can see how we were forming this just before London Open. So you can see we came in just before Frankfurt Open even, and we took Asia high over here. So that was something that I was looking for, and all I was waiting for is some sort of clear confirmation coming in London Open, right? And that's basically how I executed on the setup. And I'm actually going to show you how you could have done the same in this example. So if you have a look over here, you can see how we are now starting to form that sort of 3-box pattern that I mentioned. There is my Asia range high now being taken. Here is my sort of manipulation area. So you can see how price is starting to form potentially the high of the day over here, right? And if I had to also, I'm not sure if this is going to let me do it, but let's just try. You can see kind of how these sort of nodes are sitting on the higher time frame over here, and price is kind of finding some stability in here. So there is the potential for us to kind of roll over into coming into London Open. So I was waiting to see if we could get a break of this low over here, right? Because that was indicated with the fractal indicator. So this is my manipulation zone over here. So accumulation over here. I'm just going to mark that out for us, right? And then this is my manipulation over here, and now I'm looking for price to distribute back to the downside, okay? And that's basically just forming sort of the high of the day over here, right? And then I'm looking for price to kind of distribute back to the downside. So something that looks like this on the candle, and whether that be forming on the 4-hour or the daily, that's kind of what I was looking for, right? So you're basically trying to anticipate some sort of closure, and in this instance here, for example, this would have been my distribution area that we would be looking for, and that's kind of what it would look like on the candle, okay? So with price coming into this area in London Open, I would have then been waiting here with my sort of my position size tooling. I'm just going to have to quickly exit here to show you. But basically what I would have done, or what I did do, is looking for some sort of sell stop or buy stop, or in this instance it's going to be a sell stop, So looking for price to come into here. Okay, we can change the units to about 2 lots for, 2 contracts, for example, in this instance. And you can see I was wanting to have this sell stop over here, right? Now, what would happen is I was going to, well, yeah, in this instance, I'm waiting for price to kind of push through in London Open. Okay, so we get that break. We get the break, we get the retest. So I'm showing you how I would have got in this example, either by taking the break retest of the structure low over here. And now I'm looking for price to distribute back to the downside. So I would have put my stop loss somewhere around here, giving it about, I don't know, between 1.5. In this instance, I would have gone for 1,250. Well, I did, but I'm just showing you as a live example. And then my TP, I would have been targeting around 2.5 for that 2-to-1, right? So that's basically what I'm looking for. So price would have had my entry like this, and there we go. We would have had the stop loss or take profit down here. So I think in this instance, my stop loss is just a bit higher for the 2-to-1 example that I'm trying to show you. Okay, and let's just let this play out for the rest of the day and see what actually happens. So price came in, London Open tagged. So you would have been in and around this area, hanging about. Okay, and then you would have seen price really start to form that distribution, and bang, there would have been your 2R, right? So really clean trade in the end. Just going to disregard this for now and get out of here so you guys can kind of see what I was showing you. But this is basically how I trade this pattern on a daily basis, where I'm taking into account the high time frame execution as well as the lower time frame execution. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. It's as simple and as easy as that. It's probably one of the more cleaner trades I've seen actually on ES this sort of last month or two. But that's a great example of how you can use what I teach in the alchemy and apply it to basically any asset class, giving you that single path and setting you up for success in whatever journey it is that you want to take. So again, if you want to check out the link in my description, you can see all the details for my mentorship, and this will be the last month that I'm running it until the new year. So hopefully check you guys in there. Thanks again, guys.